fishing, it's in my soul.
Welcome to the Salt Strong Podcast, disrupting fishing entertainment as you know it. Prepare to laugh. Prepare to get to know fishing legends in a whole new and unfiltered way. And on occasion, you might even learn a thing or two about fishing. Here's your host, Joe Simons. Like diamonds.
Hello, Salt Strong Nation. Joe Simons, Like Diamonds, back again. Got a special guest. No stranger to this channel, Waiter Dave. What's up, my friend?
Welcome. Thanks for having me. Once again, I feel like I'm making this a regular habit. So you must be getting hard up for podcast guests when you start calling me blue like this.
Well, no, you're just really good at throwing ideas at us. And this one's all about sharks. And we're going to talk about wade fishing for sharks and rays, and even fishing in, 12, 15 feet of water, even flats, and certainly, of course, in deeper water. I think we can all agree as anglers that it feels like, I don't have data proving all this, but it feels like sharks have become worse in terms of numbers, in terms of being more aggressive. They seem to be everywhere. I mean, I don't remember the last time I went offshore fishing that we just didn't get wrecked by sharks, trying to get our fish up. And we had the same experience the last time we were down in Flamingo and towards Everglades at some of those mouth rivers, including, Shark River. It's crazy how aggressive these sharks are. And we filmed some of this with Captain Mark Hollywood Johnson. And we were just out in South Florida there off the Keys, and we were in 6-7 feet of water, beautiful clear water. And I mean, as soon as we started catching snook off this little mangrove island, the sharks showed up in numbers, and these are big sharks. It's all documented via video. And I mean, I'm talking, you had to get that snook in as fast as you could before that shark was all over it. And they were so aggressive. You might have seen the guy in Islamorada area that had his hand in the water, releasing the fish, and the shark got him and actually pulled him in. I mean, I don't feel like we saw that kind of stuff, a couple decades ago. So Waiter David sent me a text because you got a lot of people are getting into wade fishing. And I know one of the concerns, at least for them, maybe not for you so much, but the first concern, just like someone moving down to Florida the first time, is sharks and gators, right? Sharks and gators. And so I know you hear about it. Well, hey, what do we do about sharks? We're going to be in a couple feet of water up to our knees or our belly button. What do we do if we see a shark? I know you're probably a little bit more about rays. And so we're going to talk about a product. We're not endorsing this product, to be clear. We're not sponsored by this product. Don't even have real proof that it works, except that a lot of people say it works, and the reviews are really, really good. And I've seen it, what I feel like works, when we were fishing one time. But I felt like it would be doing a disservice if we didn't talk about it and at least start a discussion about this product as one potential solution to at least keep the sharks away from us while we're in the water, fishing, wade fishing, and of course, when we're deep sea offshore fishing. So Waiter Dave, I'll hand it to you since you've had a little bit more experience with this and have probably heard from more consumers who are worried about sharks and rays when they're wade fishing.
Yeah. So first, let me just say that, any of the facts that I quote about shark bans are just basically from information I've garnered from their website, which is, I believe it's www.sharkbanz. It's SHARKKBANZ, and I'm sure you'll put a link to it. But so take whatever I say with a grain of salt. Do yourself a favor of going to the website and actually reviewing the information they provide. There's a ton of information, a lot of facts that they provide. But do your homework and just don't count on everything that I'm having to say here, because I'm really going by memory for the most part. So this became an issue for me, and like you said, I don't know that I've noticed more sharks when I'm wade fishing over the last year than I had previously. But what I'm hearing is a lot more stories about people seeing sharks here offshore along the beaches around the country, around the world for that matter. And so I don't know whether that's, just kind of got people on high alert or whatever it might be. But it hasn't necessarily been a big issue as it relates to the sharks. that being said, you said, am I concerned? Yeah, I'm very concerned about sharks and rays in particular when I'm wade fishing. And so I always try to do whatever I can to minimize, I guess, the risk. And there are, especially with sharks, certain conditions that you might be more likely to find yourself in proximity to sharks or sharks in proximity to you. And so I still try to avoid those situations. And in fact, on the Shark Fans website, they list precautionary measures that you can take to try to eliminate or to reduce the likelihood of a shark encounter. But, some of the really simple and easy things are to try to, if you're wade fishing at night, a lot of the shark species are feed at night, are nocturnal feeders, and so you might be more likely to encounter sharks at night. They're obviously less likely to see or identify you and you as a species they don't normally tangle with while it's dark. Same thing for cloudy water, right? So when it's dark out, when you have muddy or cloudy water, those are conditions that might put you in more likely in harm's way than if you were in clear water or during the day. Another thing is, and this is always a tough one, is that being in proximity of large schools of bait. Well, what's one of the things that we all look for when we go fishing, and especially wade fishing? We're looking for large concentrations of bait because that's where the fish are. Well, because the bait's there and because the predator fish is there, so are the sharks very often. So that's likely to have sharks in the area. All that being said, I probably see sharks as often when I'm wade fishing as I don't. So it's very common for me to see them. I've kind of over the years learned how to, first of all, not to panic when I see one, right? That's the worst thing you can do. You don't want to start, splashing in the water and all that stuff. You're not going to outrun the shark. So you might as well be calm. At the same time, it's not necessarily smart to stay in the water. If you see a big shark roaming around there, then, just kind of turn around, slowly make your way back to the shoreline. They also strongly suggest that if you can, try to make eye contact with the shark. I'm not sure exactly why that helps, but I don't think it's not a staring contest, but evidently, the sharks like to come up from behind. And so if you're staring at it and you're seeing in front of you, that maybe they're less likely to attack you. But I guess the point of this is, even if you wear Shark Fans and even if it does work, still use your head and try to keep yourself out of situations where you're more likely to find or be in the company of sharks than you might otherwise, right? So that's it. Same thing with stingrays. Just because you're wearing a Shark Fans, don't stop shuffling your feet. Don't start moving quickly, right? So be very careful. Look where you're stepping, all those kind of things. So continue to do all the things that you would normally do. In the Shark Fans, if it does work, then it's just adding another layer of protection for you. All of that being said, I've gotten so many questions recently about, are you afraid of sharks? What do you do if you see sharks? What about stingrays? How do you prevent, getting stung by stingrays? All those kind of questions. There has been a lot more than I normally get. And so I've actually had a few potential clients who, because I'm very upfront about it, and I tell people, yeah, there's a good chance that we're going to see some sharks. There's almost 100% chance we'll see stingrays. And so they've chosen not to go wade fishing. It's just not a risk that they want to take. And so I'm like, hey, I get it. And more power to you. Maybe they're smarter than I am. I don't know. At the same time, I've been wade fishing for 40 years, probably in the water, over the last 8 to 10 years, probably 250 days a year. So that's a lot of opportunities to have shark and stingray encounters. But I have not had what I would consider to be a really, close encounter with a shark. I've had them close enough where I've poked them with my rod tip and they just turn around and gone the other way, including some pretty good sized bull sharks. And stingrays, I said every day. I've stepped on my share of them over the years. I've been fortunate I haven't gotten stung. I've bumped into, I can't tell you how many. But normally if I just bump into them as I'm kind of, shuffling through, they take off. But they're there. So, just assume that you're going to run into them and all that. But because I've been getting so many things, I've been started, I guess we all have this happen, but all of a sudden one day, I guess my phone must have heard me talking about it to somebody. Next thing I know, I got this thing popping up on Amazon that, oh, have you seen the shark bands? I'm like, where did that come from? Anyway, so, and then on Instagram, all of a sudden I started getting all these, they have a lot of ads and posts from shark fans on Instagram. But all of a sudden I'm just getting a ton of them. So I'm like, let me check it out. So I started doing some research, went to their website, started looking at reviews from sources other than their website. But generally, I found that the reviews were overwhelmingly positive. I think I'm just looking at Amazon right now. There's over 1,100 reviews. They have a 4.6 rating. And I don't know about you, but whenever I look at reviews at any product on Amazon, the first thing I go to are the ones. I want to see what the bottle, right? And so I went there, and a good number of the negative reviews were related to the fact that people thought that the shark fin was leaking. And basically what it is, it's a very, very strong magnet encased in a silicone strap that you, in this case, the shark fins too, strap around either your wrist or your ankle. But anyway, the negative reviews were about, the material inside the silicone band is leaking. I can see it coming out. Well, it is. What it is this magnet is so powerful, it actually pulls like iron particles from the water, and it starts to build up on top of the shark fin. So it looks like it's leaking, but basically you can wipe this stuff, and that's all it is. So if I eliminate those, really are not a lot of negative comments, and overwhelmingly more positive comments. So that, at least for me, was enough between the information I saw on their website and the reviews that I saw to at least give it a try. As I mentioned, I did buy one about 3 to 4 weeks ago, and I've been wearing it now for a little over 3 weeks. And I guess the real quick, I've not had a shark encounter, so I can't tell you whether it will repel a shark. And so another one of the negative reviews is, I saw sharks within 10 to 12 feet of me. Well, maybe I should real quickly. The science behind this is that sharks have, I think they call electroreceptors within their noses and their faces that can sense electro pulses, I guess, and they're typically very weak pulses that are generated by almost every living being, right? And that's why sharks can attack and can be effective when it's dark water and at night and all that kind of stuff. They're very sensitive, so they can sense their prey or anything for that matter. But what this thing does, it's a very, very powerful magnet encased in a silicone band. But what happens is these sharks get close to that, and the range that this thing is effective is somewhere between 3 to 6 feet. The closer the shark is to you, the more powerful the magnetic pulse is. So it's not going to probably, if sharks will be in the area anyway, doesn't mean they're not going to be in the area. But what it does mean is that theoretically, if they were to come towards you and get close enough, they can start feeling that electromagnetic pulse. And basically what it is, it's according to the website, it's the equivalent of you getting close to somebody, them turning to you and shining one of those super bright mag lights in your eyes, right? Well, you turn your head, you're repulsed, and you move away. In fact, that's a defensive tool. I think a lot of people actually. So it's very similar to that. So the neat thing about it, because it's just a very powerful magnet, it doesn't need batteries. It doesn't have to be recharged, right? So it's effective all the time. So that part of it is kind of cool too. And I thought initially, oh gosh, if I have to recharge this, all I need is another thing I need to recharge. I'm going to forget about it or do whatever it might be, or what happens if the charge, if I deplete the battery. It doesn't need any of that. So it's really very simple. It's almost, and it's a little bit heavier than a watch, but it's not super heavy. I mean, as I said, I've been wearing it. I don't even remember. I don't even feel that I have it on when I'm wearing it. I usually wear it just around my booty, at my ankle. But it's a very, very clever device, and it's well designed. Quality seems to be good. And I guess as it relates to the results that I said, I haven't really had any shark encounters to tell you. Now, maybe I've had sharks come up behind me that I didn't see and it's repellent. I don't know. But I will say this. I have noticed that it seems to repel stingrays. And in my case, that's more important to me than even the sharks. Because like I said, I have so many more close encounters with stingrays than I do with the shark. And it's a much more likely scenario to get stung by a stingray than is bitten by a shark. What I've seen is, as I said, I take all the same precautions I normally do. I walk very slowly. I take small steps. I pretty much shuffle my feet, so I don't want to lift them up so I can't step on the stingray. If I happen to get close to one, I might bump into it. And more often than not, they just take off when that happens. But I also often see that I'll get pretty close, and they don't. I mean, it's kind of uncanny sometimes how close they'll be to you before you even see it, or they take off. And so you don't even know how many that there might be that you don't see. But what I have been noticing is that as I've seen stingrays kind of getting closer to me, it's like they hit that 3 to 6 foot range, and then boom, man, they are just taking off. And that's not something I necessarily saw with the frequency that I have since I started wearing that. And I've also noticed, and again, I guess this speaks to the stingrays that I'm not seeing, is I've been seeing a lot of little mud trails that you might see, like if you spook a redfish, something like that, right? That you've got, but it's more than likely there's these stingrays that I probably have gotten close to. They're taking off. I didn't even see. So listen, I've gone 4 years without a stingray, barb in my feet. I've gone the last 3 weeks without one. So I don't know, but I really do. I personally believe that it has an effect on the stingrays. I also bought mine at the same time as 2 other insiders. A lot of insiders probably know Brinkley Peters, who's another wade fishing guy that I spend a lot of time fishing with, and then Philip Bilger, who does a lot of stuff with Salt Strong. I think they've done a tutorial on smart spots, but the 3 of us all bought ours at the same time, and we've all kind of come to the same conclusion. Listen, it's only 3 data points, and it's only a short period of time, but it's enough for me to really make a point of putting it on now, because I really do believe it works. I'm also going to order a couple of more, which is why I'm really hoping you guys are going to be able to negotiate a discount with them. But I want to have them for my clients as well. And maybe they don't want to wear it; it'll be up to them. But it's just another maybe just another level of comfort. And I want to be responsible as well. And if there is something out there that can help make a wade fishing trip safer, then I want to do what I can to make sure that happens.
Yep, and they have the Zeppelin version as well, which is the one that we use down in South Florida. Just on one trip, we were fishing with someone else who's a guide down there, and he was using it and swears by it. That, to your point, it's not like the sharks just leave the area, but they stay further away from the boat, right where that little Zeppelin was. It's essentially a bigger version of the one that you would put on your ankle. And it's in a different capsule that you could, drop down on a line. You could use a buoy. He actually had a little small buoy that had it just so he could pull it out real quick in case a fish got wrapped around it, or, meaning, fish that were fighting got wrapped around the line. But he swears by it just because the sharks are so bad down there. And I know there's been a few of their guides just because of how bad it has become that are looking at it and starting to try it out. But then again, it's, if you are a shark and we know how aggressive they can get when there's blood in the water, it's all right. How bad is that flashlight going to hurt? How, are they squinting to get through that flashlight comparison effect to say, who cares? I don't mind a little bit of a shock or to being a little uncomfortable if I got blood in the water. So that will be interesting. Meaning if you had a fish that was already bleeding or hooked bad, that part I don't know. I don't know that anything is just going to completely get rid of them. But from everything I've seen so far, like you, Dave, it seems to be that this shark bands and this Zeppelin by the same company is working to some extent.
Yeah, well, it's funny you say that about the blood in the water. They actually have several videos where basically they've taken a dummy put them on a surfboard, stuck fish inside the pant leg of the dummy, had it hanging over the surfboard, right? They show it first, with the shark bands on it. They show the shark coming up and then being, repelled by that several different times. And then take the shark bands off, put the dummy back out, and sharks go right after. I mean, nothing about it. And then on top of it, they do put a bunch of blood in the water, and they put chum in there, and it shows the same thing. So it's interesting. I mean, there's plenty of videos there that'll show you what happens in the event of blood in the water. I think the biggest issue, I think people are under the impression that it's going to keep, the sharks away from you for this, for 100 yards or whatever it might be. The reality is it's a 3 to 6 foot distance that the thing is really effective. So yeah, I mean, if it's sharp,
and I think a little bit bigger.
It might be for that one.
Yeah.
But they also have another one called a pod, which is similar thing. You can just drop it in your pocket, or you put it inside your sock or your wading buoy or something like that if you don't want to wear the shark fin. So I mean, I've got mine here too. So it's kind of interesting. And as I said, you've got to be very careful. I'm a little hesitant now. I just want to back it up with my computer. But you've got to be very careful with it because of the. But I got to this box now. What's interesting, this box is kind of like it's evidently there's metal built in around it, so it offsets the magnetic waves so that it won't hurt your computer or your watch or your credit card if it's inside the box. But as soon as you take it outside of the box, then there's everybody beware. But I mean, you can see it. It's really, it looks basically like a watch. And it's not a lot heavier than some of those, big old fancy, large dial watches these days either. I was surprised at how light it is. And all I've been doing at the end of the day, I just wash it off with fresh water like I do, my rods and reels. Put it back in this box, just like this, and I'm just keeping it in my glove box in my truck, so I don't have to keep carrying it back and forth and put it back in there. But that's it. But it's really been simple. So as I said, I guess I just became aware of the opportunity here, basically because I've been getting so many people asking about sharks and rays and all the rest. In fact, we did a Q&A a couple of weeks ago, and that was a big part of the question and answer piece was all about, what do you do if you see sharks? How often do you see sharks? What kind of sharks do you see, right? So, and that's another thing. This thing does not work for all types of sharks. It doesn't work for nurse sharks, for instance. Now, they're probably the shark that, most of us are least worried about. But, if you get close enough to a nurse shark or you disturb it, then, they will bite. I think that surprises a lot of people. But they will. But, the big three that, apex predators are great whites, tiger sharks, and bull sharks. According to the website, it is effective for all three. And in fact, there was a pretty significant study done specifically on bull sharks off the coast of, I think it was North Carolina, that has really some significant evidence that it is effective. And bull sharks are probably the one that I'm most concerned about where I am, because they come very, very shallow. They'll go up rivers and creeks, even into fresh water in this area, right? They feed at night as well as day. They're opportunistic. They love to be where there's a lot of bait. So they're the ones that, they're maybe, if not being one of the most aggressive sharks there are. So to know that it, according to research, is effective against bull sharks is a big plus. So, I mean, I'm looking at their website right now, and it claims that it's effective on hammerheads, bull sharks, white sharks, Australian blacktips. Now, I don't know whether it has the same impact on the blacktips that we have here or not. Sandbar sharks, lemon sharks, gray reef sharks, milk sharks, and spear-toothed sharks. And I did read somewhere else that it also, I think, will have an impact on thresher sharks. So, but as I said, the bull shark is the one that I'm, I guess would typically be most concerned about. But more importantly, again, for me, it's the rays. And that's where I, in the short time I've been using it, I have, I'm convinced that it's having an impact on repelling stingrays.
Cool. Yeah, and you can go to Shark Bands with BANZ, as Dave said earlier, and see all the technology. They do have an impressive website and a lot of documentation and a lot of experiments. I have not seen the surfing one. I'm gonna check that one out. I'm curious, when you wear it, do you wear it inside of your wader, like your booty, or your outs? How do you wear it?
I'm wet wading right now, so I'm just basically putting it around the outside of my neoprene booty.
Okay.
And then I typically have like a nylon sock that I just pull over it. So it's covered by this thin nylon sock. But yeah, you can just strap it to the top of your booty. And then so you don't even know it's there. I mean, I was a little concerned that, what if it breaks while I'm, going through oysters, things like that. But, I'm wearing it up near the top of the booty, so that hasn't been an issue for me at this point. But, has a 3-year warranty. They claim that you should probably replace it every 4 years. So we'll see how that goes. But, it said all the reviews seem to rave about the customer service as well. So, there's nothing that I've seen or read at this point that would send up any kind of red flags about at least getting it a try if you really think that it might help. And part of maybe part of it's just the placebo effect too. I don't know, but it's like I said, I'll be buying a couple more to have for my clients when we're wade fishing.
Yeah, it's cool. That's a pretty cool little value add. That's neat. Anything else that you want to talk about on the sharks?
Well, I think that's it. It's just a matter of really being careful. And actually, it's it. If you go to their website, even if you don't end up buying one, there's a lot of really good information on what to do how to avoid sharks. A lot of good Q&A or frequently asked questions about sharks that might help you avoid them even if you don't buy one, right? So I think that's it's worth it if nothing else to check that out. Yeah.
Yep, agreed. I mean, one easy one is to not have a stringer full of fish, of bloody fish on your around your waist. Yeah,
it makes it really easy to be a catch and release fisherman when you're wade fishing.
Yeah. Yes, it does. But I know there's still a lot of people that do it. And heck, we used to do that growing up. Looking back, how lucky we were. And we had a couple of somewhat scary encounters down in, I remember Marco Island in particular, where we had stringers on us and sharks came right up. And that'll get your heart moving pretty quickly. Yeah.
No, I don't keep a stringer of fish with me. I like you. I've had enough times over the years where I've had sharks coming up to folks with their stringer. But the only good news is I just stay away from them, and it's better than the shark fans. We'll attack them instead of me.
Yep.
But listen, I only keep the fish. I've got my kayak with me, a cooler I can throw in there, or I'm waiting from the boat and throw it in the live well or cooler.
Cool. Well, yeah, you guys check them out. And as we stated earlier, this is not an endorsement or a promotion. This is more of a conversation. So we love your feedback. If you've used this product called Shark Bands or anything else like it, I'm sure by now I know they have some patents on it, but I'm guessing there's some other competition that does similar things. So if you have anything that works, we're just trying to learn here, trying to share what potentially works. Like I said, Dave's at least likes it enough where he's buying more of them for his clients. Just at worst case, it makes you feel better. And it is kind of neat that it's kind of shooing off the rays before you have to shuffle and hit them with your own feet. So I'm interested to hear some feedback from other people on their experience with it.
Great.
Cool. Well, thank you, my friend. And you guys comment down below. If you're hearing this on podcast, go over to saltshore.com, find this in the fishing tip section, and you'll see a little area at the bottom where you can comment on this blog post. We would love to hear your thoughts. And yes, we will be contacting Shark Bands and trying to get a discount for them or with them or through them for our insider members. If you don't know, our insider members not only get 20% off or more everything in our store, but we have some really, really amazing discounts with really, really, really big names. I'm not allowed to say them publicly because they're all behind the scenes, because these companies don't want their name associated with big discounts for obvious reasons. But once you're a member and you're behind the paywall, you can see all of the group discounts. And we have some members who have saved thousands of dollars from kayaks and boat accessories. Some really, really big ticket items and small ticket items, trolling motors, all kinds of cool stuff on there, 10, 20, even 30% off in some cases, coolers. So a lot of great stuff there in the group discount. If you are a member and you don't know about it, go to the main dashboard at saltshore.com when you're logged in, and you'll see the group discount section. Click that, and it's multiple pages of all of the current active group discounts. So Waiter Dave, thank you again for being.
Just real quickly.
Yeah.
Waiter Dave also offers a 10% discount on the guided wade fishing trips, but you have to be patient on the last one listed in the whole directory there. So don't give up too early. Go to the end. Save the best for last.
Yes. No, please do. Dave has been, and probably why you're last is you're one of the first, and maybe we need to start shuffling that order around if you are indeed the last one on the whole group discount page. But yeah, Dave has been nice enough to do that for members, and I know you fish with countless members, and they all just rave about fishing with Waiter Dave. So definitely look him up. And what's your website?
www.waitersguide.com. Or you can just you can go to Instagram and just look up Waiter Dave. That might be even easier for you.
And it sounds like if you book soon, you might have your own little shark bands you can test out with them. So
yeah,
too cool. Well, thank you, my friend. Thank you all for listening, and please do comment. We would love to hear any and all input you have on sharks in general, shark deterrence, etc. Otherwise, we'll talk to you on the next episode.
Take care.
'Cause fishing, it's in my soul. It was pain.